Welcome to the Ignited Recovery Podcast, a new way forward for anyone looking for answers but feeling left out. If you've been searching for empowerment, triumph, and purpose, you've found them right here. You won't hear the same solutions, and you're not going to have any excuses to fall back on, because Ignited Recovery allows heroes to rise and become their best selves. I'm Dr. Adi Jaffe, and I can't wait to be your guide on this journey. Are you ready to become an ignited hero? We've all been hearing about the microbiome and how important it is for our health. It's kind of funny, right? Only 10 years ago, we believed that killing the bacteria on everything was the way to go. I mean, do you remember those sanitizer sprays everywhere? And now we're gradually learning that, surprise, surprise, not really, we actually need the bacteria around us to thrive and even survive. The thing is that everybody's been focusing almost exclusively on the bacteria in your body that helps you digest food. And that is really important because if you can't digest it, you can't live off of the nutrients, and then you develop all sort of GI problems and you have to... Never mind. But research has been showing us an incredible connection between bacteria in your gut and your mental health. Seriously. For instance, studies have shown that the bacteria in the gut of an animal can change its level of depression. And more research is coming out showing that the same exact thing probably plays a role in anxiety, depression, maybe even autism and ADHD. Isn't that amazing? So I did some research and I decided to add a probiotic mix that helps not only mood, but also the communication between my gut and the brain. It's called Amare, and their wellness kit takes care of everything that I need. The probiotics that have been researched to provide actual tangible help, and the prebiotics and everything that those bacteria need to thrive and do their work. I've been using it myself for 3 months, and I gotta say, it's really helped regulate my mood and keep me even. And it's helping me feel less foggy too, especially in the morning. Look, these guys really did their research, and this stuff is top notch. If you want to get it for yourself, just follow the link in our show notes and you can join the mind biome revolution with me. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Ignited Recovery Secrets podcast. My name is Adi Jaffe, and I'm excited to bring you an interview today. We haven't done an interview in a long time. My goal in putting this podcast out is not only to talk about Ignited and what Ignited does in terms of recovery, but rather to expand the conversation about how we should be addressing addiction, mental health, shame, etc. in a really broad way. And that's a little bit of what we're doing here today, because we are bringing you an interview with Jessica from A Sober Girl's Guide. Guys, you can still listen to the interview. It's okay. But Jessica has another non-traditional recovery journey. And when I say non-traditional at this point, I pretty much mean like she doesn't go to AA. That's kind of the non-traditional thing. As long as you don't go to AA, you have a non-traditional recovery route. Just to be clear, I have no problem with you if you go to AA, but there are enough of those stories around. Lena Dunham just announced that she's celebrating a year of sobriety, and she said in a recovery fellowship. And so that to me is speak for 12-step recovery, which is all good. Congratulations, Lena. That is awesome. And Jessica will be bringing us a different view. And, one of the things I like about the work Jessica does is so many people that I talk to imagine that if I stop drinking, life will be boring. It'll be monotonous. I'll stop being able to go out. I'll stop being able to have fun. And first of all, that's not at all true. One of the first stories that comes to mind is a client I have who has told me now numerous times that the only reason she came to see me was because I told her that she doesn't have to quit and she might be able to keep drinking. She has now been abstinent from alcohol for 2 years. But the point is, we had to relearn how to have fun in her regular everyday life. I always ask this of people, and maybe this is a good question to ask yourself, whether you struggle with substances or not. What is fun for you? So many of us just take it for granted that fun is going out drinking, but I'll argue this. The drinking is not the fun. The drinking might
reduce your inhibition so you can act in the way that you wanted to act anyway to have fun. But then, why can't you sing in front of other people when you're sober? Why can't you dance? Why can't you feel comfortable in conversation? If you've read The Abstinence Myth, you know that to me, those are the deeper, more important questions. And so what we'll do here today is dive in deeper to somebody else's version of the story and hear from them how they recovered, what they found worked. And I hope that serves as inspiration for you. I hope that it serves as another jumping off point for you to be able to find a different story for yourself or a loved one, for somebody else who is struggling. And remember that I firmly believe that these concepts, these principles do not only apply to recovery from addiction, especially not recovery from substances. I think that this need to seek inner peace, to be at peace with ourselves, and to improve and increase our self-esteem is universal. We live in a world that inundates us with daily stress, so much so that we are all chronically stressed without even recognizing it. And we all have ways of dealing with it. So no matter what your way of dealing with it is, I hope that today's interview gives you a little insight into some other little pathways to your happiness. Enjoy it.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the more rare interview section of the Ignited podcast. On Wednesday, we do interviews all the time. Fridays, not so much. Reserved for special people. And we have exactly one of those people with us here today. We've got Jessica Jeboult.
Ooh, yes.
Accents are a subspecialty. I can maybe explain why if it ever becomes relevant during this podcast. But
yes.
A Sober Girl's Guide.
Yes, sir.
Which is kind of your handle, you said, on everything.
Everything.
And we met through Instagram, through the world of Instagram. I feel like everybody just now. You're in LA, you meet people on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't even have to go on Tinder anymore. You just go on Instagram. And I'm married, so it doesn't really matter. But we met. You have, first of all, your own recovery journey, but also we talked quite a bit the first time we met, and I was on your podcast about alternative approaches to recovery and kind of turning, I think there's a movement now to turn recovery cool.
Yeah.
And I feel
like
that's
recovery is the new black.
In.
Yeah. Kind of sexy.
Is that taken?
I think so.
Damn
well,
it.
I know the Instagram handle's taken.
Oh, because you checked it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was not, you didn't like come up with that phrase
No.
Damn it, I thought we had an exclusive. Yeah, so first of all, just introduce yourself to our people.
Okay. I'm Jessica Jeboult. I am the founder of A Sober Girl's Guide, which started off as a little blog, basically me ranting and raving about my sober journey. It's taken me 10 years to get here, to understand why and the value of sobriety and that good stuff. It has definitely grown into more than just a blog. I now have guest bloggers. I have a podcast that I've added and the whole social media channels, and I'm going into video, which I'm very excited about. Ooh. And
damn, you're doing
am
a lot.
Finishing up my book.
So cool.
Yeah.
Is it called A Sober Girl's Guide?
No, it's like actually, I know, right? It's completely different, and it kind of started off as a joke because I used to say it to myself and actually say it to my coaching clients. I'm going to teach you how to save your own damn life. So it's called How to Save Your Own Damn Life.
I like it.
Yeah.
Which is the only thing any of us can do.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so I know when we talked the first time, you have your own history with drugs and alcohol.
Yes.
You're totally sober now.
Yeah.
Hundo
P, man.
Yeah. And how long?
2 years.
Rock and roll.
Yeah.
You know, you were sitting on a panel with me. Well, not on a panel. You were sitting watching a panel the other day. We were talking about that before.
Yeah.
We started recording and talking about the book Sober Curious, but more generally about the role of alcohol in people's lives, etc. Then it was nice to see. I felt like it was a good discussion.
Yeah.
At a kind of surface level, like for people who are just thinking, should I be drinking as much wine as I am or not?
Yeah.
But that wasn't the thing for you, right? Like you were struggling
when you were using and drinking?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I tried to convince myself that this was normal and this is how, everyone drinks alcohol and reacts to alcohol. It wasn't.
What's this? Like, walk us through. What did it look like before?
Okay. So when I was drinking, it always ended up leading to cocaine. That just was inevitable.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So I was never really big into blow. Like, I sold Coke.
Yeah.
But even when we got really good Coke, I would do some. But the thing about Coke, like, I'm sorry if I'm about to trigger people, but like the pearly Coke, like the stuff that would.
The Rock?
Well, yeah, but it would like not Coke, not like freebase. This was like when it would come from the Colombians, like stamped with a little Scorpio on it. It would be like iridescent. It wouldn't even be white. So I was like as clean Coke as you could get or whatever. And I would do it. And my whole thing about cocaine always was the fact that every 20 minutes you got to fucking do it again.
Yeah.
When it was really good shit, at least your nose wouldn't get all fucked up. But
oh, I fucked my nose up bad.
But every 20 minutes you got to get high again. That's why that's why I'm a meth guy. Like 6-7 hours.
See, no, I can't commit to that.
No, you're like you're low commitment phobia around drugs.
Yes, and that's ironically what the book is about.
That's funny.
It's consisting of 4 commitments to saving your own damn life.
Yeah.
I didn't want to commit to that because I didn't like knowing that I would be trapped there. I felt like I would be trapped in that state. I mean, even thinking of an hour ahead was terrifying to me.
Because for me, cocaine is like the indecision drug. It's like, I got drunk and I got too drunk, so I'm going to do some Coke so I don't feel as drunk.
Yep.
And then I'm going to drink more because now I'm not drunk enough, so I'm going to do more Coke. And I'm like, you could have ended you could have just sat in a fucking chair and pretty much have the exact feeling you have right now, but like $300 more in your pocket.
Yes. Exactly.
All my friends who
You're
do
just
blow,
like doing these 2 things to level yourself out.
Too drunk.
Yeah.
Okay, feel
So
sober
stupid.
again. Let me drink again. It's always weirded me out. I didn't understand it. Now again, I'm saying this kind of tongue in cheek. Like, I'm not suggesting for anybody listening, in case this is not obvious, that you switch out your Coke habit for meth.
Right.
I'm not actually picking sides. I'm just saying it becomes like a personal journey of what you pick. When I sold drugs, I would always say you find the thing that flips your switch.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, I got it. Now this thing makes me feel the way I think I should feel normally. Let me just go all in.
Right. And I liked how you touched on, like, you're not condoning these activities and we are being tongue in cheek about it. But I think we can be tongue in cheek about it because we've gone through this stuff
100%.
And we're on the other side and we've healed those places. Like, anyone who isn't healed can't joke about it or can't,
it's really interesting that you bring that up. Maybe that's why people get pissed off at me all the time online, because they're still so fucking stuck up in their shit that they're like, how dare you suggest that anything else is potentially feasible?
Right.
I am built in, like I'm anchored. I am full 100% dedicated to looking at things this way. I'm holding on for dear life because I'm afraid that if anybody rocks this boat, I'm going to fly out.
Right.
I think we should be able to question and even joke. I mean, it's a very serious thing. I went to jail and was looking at prison. People are dying from this every day, every hour.
Right.
It's not that the topic is funny, or it's not that the overall concept of what we're talking about is funny, but there are humorous components to all of it, like the fact that I somehow for 4 or 5 years thought that just smoking a shit ton of meth all day was a normal way to live. Like, it just seemed like this is how people do it. And it seemed like for you, that was going out, getting wasted and doing blow.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's just how people do it.
Yeah. But it's all like, our perception, right?
Yeah. So how long was that lasting for you, the Coke alcohol game?
Oh my God. Like 10, at least 10 years.
Okay. Why are you so bashful about it?
I don't know, because
I've been some of this stuff right here.
I've been kind of like going back, and I'm like, I've rekindled with like old relationships, and I'm like, wait, how long has it been? It's been 10 years. Like, it just kind of like blows your mind.
You're saying people that you've known for 10 years, or people you disconnected from for 10 years because of that phase you were going through?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, when I saw you at that event, the girl that I was with, we used to be roommates. And we haven't seen each other in probably 8 years. And then we just started hanging out, and It's
Very
like
cool.
it's like we never lost
Yeah.
touch. It was really cool.
So
So yeah, 10 years.
So you said I
This
would always
little
drink.
cycle.
The drinking would always lead to blow. Mm-hmm. But like, look again. I'm just being honest, right? Like right now, that sounds like a fun night.
Yeah.
So what made it fucked up?
I got very violent.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
From the blow.
From everything.
From all of it
was
together.
a combination of I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to be with these people. I didn't want to be this person. I didn't want to be in this relationship. I didn't want to.
Yeah.
And
So you-
doing all these things.
You would just do all these things to run away from the fact that you knew you didn't want to anyway. And then when you would be in that place and sort of disinhibited, like they talked about in the panel, but maybe
Right.
more so out of sorts, you would act
Yes.
out.
Oh, like crazy.
Okay, I got to hear your
acting
story.
out.
Come on, tell us a story.
It's not cute. Like,
Obviously, it's not cute. Like,
Like-
I walked around with a gun in Beverly Hills, like carrying cash in my. It wasn't cute. It seemed
my
normal in my
God.
head. It wasn't cute. What's
Yeah.
your not cute story?
probably hitting my ex-girlfriend. And that's like I don't think I've ever told anyone about that because it's really, not only is it hard to say, it's hard to even fathom and picture because like I grew up with my dad hitting. Yeah. So it kind of like comes full circle.
And then you saw it, like it was staring you in the face.
Yeah. And then I'm like, oh my God, like I really am like him.
And was he drinking a lot too? And
He wasn't a drinker a lot. Like he was actually like the anti-drug dude. And
okay.
it's kind of ironic because like me and all my brothers are addicts.
really interesting.
Yeah. And he was so against, like he's a wino. That's his drug of choice.
But I mean, I know people who polish off 2 bottles of wine a night.
Yeah.
Like,
And that would be him.
you can get fucked up on alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
But when he would get drunk or all the time, he would just be aggressive.
No, he was super aggressive. And
aggressive,
he
period.
also acted out because he didn't want to be there. He didn't want to be married. He didn't want to have these like limitations and restrictions. And he just wasn't happy. He didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
And that's how he dealt with it. He didn't have words. He didn't have coping mechanisms. He hid.
And so you saw that, and even though you resisted it, when you ended up finding yourself in a place where you didn't want to be, you used the same tools you learned how to use. Like, I can
Yep.
hit my way out of this cave.
Yeah. Like, I'm going to make you listen to me by A, yelling at you. And if you're not going to listen to my yelling, B, I'm going to hit you.
That has to be hard.
It's so gross to say.
Yeah. But that's the reason I wanted to ask is we change for a reason.
Yeah.
People call it rock bottom. I hate that fucking word. And the reason I
No.
hate it is it sounds like you have to get almost dead or you have to end up in jail or prison.
Right. Or you
People-
have to like lose your job or your house.
Yeah. Like,
That's not the case
it's
for
the
me.
moment of change. It's like the moment where something happens and you go, oh, fuck. I didn't think it was going to get this bad.
Yeah.
And that can be anything you choose it to be.
Yeah.
I always say, the only way you know you hit a rock bottom is way, way later when you can look back and say, oh, that was the bottom.
Yeah.
You don't know it's a bottom in the moment. You just know it's a moment of readiness.
Totally.
And you go, oh, I don't want that to happen again. So what do I have to do for that not to happen again?
Yeah.
And for you, it sounds like seeing the parallels between you and your dad and aggression and violence. That's what did it.
Yeah. And just always being that angry person. And I'm not an angry person.
You
like
don't seem like an angry person.
I am really happy and like I like to have fun like a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that just it wasn't allowing me to be that true person. And I feel like if we're gonna call it rock bottom, I feel like every time I was kind of living in that angry state and not being my true self, like that's a rock bottom.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
then you would use on top of that just to mask
Yep.
it so you can get through the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Get through the day, also get through work. I was DJing at the time, full time. Basically paid to party, so why not?
Yeah. I could never
Like
DJ
everything,
when
all
I'm
these
fucked
like
up.
little things were just like, yes, like kind of almost fueling it,
Sure.
making it acceptable.
Yeah. Well, in the book, I talk about biology, psychology, environment, and spirituality, or kind of your soul or purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So your biology had whatever that was going on from your dad, et cetera, and in terms of aggression and violence and all that, and like just the angst, right? That's one thing.
Yeah.
Psychology, it sounds like the anxiety and stress that were created by being in a lifestyle you didn't want to be in.
Yes.
And some of the trauma from early childhood as well. But then your environment, like you're pointing out, manifested that. It drove you to behave in ways that were acceptable in that context. Like in that world you were living in, that was totally acceptable.
Totally. It was weird not to drink. Like when people ask me about like drinking, like, oh, do you drink a lot or whatever? I'm like, oh no, I only drink when I'm at work.
I love it.
Like, and you know, being a DJ, that's the kind of only acceptable profession you can do that in.
That's funny.
So that's why people think DJs are so much cool too.
So that was how you kind of decided to shift. And then what was your experience like when you tried stopping?
So, you know, I didn't know a lot. Like, okay, how old was I? I was like 23 when I really knew something was bad, something was up. I was super depressed. Like my highs were high because I was high. And then, you know, when everything wore off, I was so low and I didn't know what to do. I even went to the Church of Scientology. I went to AA.
Did you get cleared?
No, I didn't really make it past the first step because I didn't have money with me that day.
Right. Truth.
So, you know, being poor has its benefits sometimes.
That's like not being pulled into Scientology.
Yeah.
I don't want Scientologists to like descend on this home all the time.
God.
I feel like Scientologists are listening all the time.
They absolutely are.
Yes. Okay.
They're the ones creating those ads when you, like your phone's around and you're like, oh, weird. I was just saying that. And look, there's an ad on my Facebook. Scientology.
Tom Cruise, if you're listening, I'd be down to have you for an interview, but please don't bring no Scientology materials around here. I know, right? It's like, isn't he like an alien who lives in a human body or something along those lines? I don't know.
Yeah. You know, I have to give it to Scientology though. Like they really know how to put you on.
Oh yeah.
Like they know how to just like massage that ego of yours and just like really lift you up and feel like you're on top of the world.
Yeah.
Like when I was there, I'm like, yes.
Oh, really?
I am an artist and you need me. Like literally my ego was just in my chest. I was walking around and strutting around like an idiot.
But you just didn't have enough money.
No.
Damn it.
No.
So close to salvation.
So freaking close to living my best life in Scientology.
I get it. So you chose not Scientology, you went to AA instead.
Yeah. So I went to AA. You know, like here's my thing with AA. I'm not against AA. I'm not against any organization, rehabs, anything that works for you. Great. I'm actually beginning to kind of notice the ups of AA.
Okay.
But at the time, I would go to the meetings, I'd sit, I'd listen, and I would kind of just be there because I didn't have any other option. And I didn't relate to anyone.
Yeah.
My story wasn't as dramatic or like out there or, you know, horrible. You know, my story wasn't horrible. It was all mediocre and that was kind of the kiss of death because nothing really horrible happened. I mean, some horrible things did happen, but...
But you're saying you sat there and people they tell their stories and the stories are extreme. Like
extreme.
I was hiding in the bushes with guns.
Yeah.
You know,
like
the
almost like
were...
a pissing match. Like, oh, well, I got arrested 7 times.
Yeah.
Well, I got arrested 10. It's like,
totally.
Okay, dude, like, what are we doing here?
So that didn't really relate. What'd you do instead? Or where did you go? Or how'd you find your way?
So I was in and out of meetings. I'd have like a month sober, 2 months sober.
In and out in terms of the sobriety as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just didn't find value. Like point blank, didn't find value in sobriety.
Yeah.
I didn't see the good that it was doing for me. It was too freaking hard. It was like, I just didn't have the mental capacity and willingness to go there.
Okay.
So I didn't until I was sitting, I think I was 30. Yeah, I just turned 30.
Okay.
And it was New Year's and I was playing this gig at the Montage down in Laguna. And I was so excited that I was going to spend New Year's to myself. And I'm like, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to drink. I don't have to party in front of anyone. No one is going to know what's going on. Like, no one is going to hold me accountable for if I drink or if I don't. And I can't wait to not drink. And I actually couldn't. I couldn't because in my contract for the Montage, you can't drink while you're working. And I was so happy about it.
That's great.
I'm like, this is it. I am starting this new year off. I am not drinking. I'm going to wake up in this beautiful suite in Laguna. Like, oh, it was the most amazing night. I had a great gig. I woke up and I just knew, like, it was done. I was so done. I don't even know how to explain it. I didn't find the value in alcohol. So I went from not finding the value of sobriety to like not finding the value of like, why am I drinking? And why am I getting fucked up?
Totally shift.
Totally switched.
But that was the first job you really didn't drink on?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really wonder how much it was that you weren't allowed to and that you kind of went like...
I didn't even... You know what? I've worked there before and I've kind of like snuck it in, or I've gone like backstage and like had a little nip of champagne, whatever. I was just relieved, actually.
It was like an opportunity.
Yep. Totally.
Cool.
And I'm like, I use that kind of as my excuse not to drink. Because I'm like, oh, I can't. I'm under contract. I can't.
Yeah.
So I kind of like use it to my advantage.
Totally. So that was the beginning. And then I had definitely upped my like spirituality game in the coming years. Just like educating myself in things that I was really actually interested in. I was out of like that relationship. I was away from the people that I was hanging out with. I became like the loner that I truly am. I really am. Before you felt like you were trying to make yourself socialize or something?
Oh, yeah. Because like every relationship that I was in, my other half was always very social. And, you know, I just wasn't.
Got it.
And I had this chance. It's like I had these excuses to do right by myself. It was really crazy how it all kind of worked out. So I studied like books and spirituality and stuff that I was attracted to. What was one of the
books that you read and you were like, oh my God, this totally speaks to me?
4 Agreements.
Yeah, I love that book.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say that.
Yeah. It's just easy.
Yeah, 4 Agreements is one of the recommended readings on our course.
Yep.
It's one of the first books Sophie gave me. It's super short. I think it's one of the things that inspired me to make a book that was super short. I loved how short that book is.
Me too. Totally.
You finish it in an afternoon.
Yeah.
Just
it's great. You can pick it up whenever.
Yeah.
Like, and just flip to a page and be like, okay, cool.
And also, most people who read it go, yeah, I should do these things.
Yeah. like it's not mind blowing. It's not like, oh, here's the secret formula to life. It's like, no, these are just very easy every day. I've been doing
these and I really should.
Yes,
totally.
Exactly. Yeah.
And, you know, be impeccable. Don't take things personally.
Yes. Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. Really, really great book. Okay, cool. I like that. So,
yeah.
So that's when you talk about spirituality, it was literally just an expansion of your understanding of life.
Yes.
Not like a God thing.
No.
I'm just
no.
You gave me a look like saying God would be bad. I'm just wondering.
No.
Okay.
No. Okay. That's funny. I don't like,
because for a lot of people that is what spirituality is.
Yeah. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
I think like spirituality is like, for me, is like connecting to myself and then like expanding that outwards.
Cool. Yeah. I'm not big on God, but I'm just saying like that's my journey. I just always wonder, because I think spirituality is huge.
Yeah.
By the way, one of the things, somebody just wrote this to me the other day. I'm going to vent for a second if it's okay.
Yeah, go.
Somebody wrote to me on an article that I wrote called The Dogma of the 12 Steps, something like, this is how it doesn't work, from how it works.
Yeah.
So how it doesn't work.
Okay.
And one of the points that I make in it is that AA is essentially a religious program. And they go, it's not religious, it's spiritual.
It is.
And I go,
cool. So why do you read the Lord's Prayer?
Yeah.
And why do you read all Christian prayers? Like,
Right.
if it's just spiritual, where are some Buddhist prayers in there?
Exactly.
Where are some Jewish prayers or Muslim prayers? Why not just make it no prayers from Bibles, but rather just spiritual sayings and,
Yeah.
draw from the Dalai Lama. There's no fucking Dalai Lama like sayings in the big book. If it's not a religious group, why is everything you do Christian?
Right.
Then just fucking call it
Yeah.
a religion. I mean, like,
Just call a
by the way,
spade.
I'm not hating on Christianity. Like,
Right.
I know people who recovered by going back to church.
Yeah.
All the more power to you. Just fucking call it what it is.
Yeah.
And when people say shit like, the doorknob can be your higher power, I go, no, it can't.
Yeah.
The doorknob is not my higher power.
No.
Like, and by the way, to clarify, because I've talked about this before, my spirituality is around purpose and service. So that's kind of where I see my spirituality. And that's how, like, making the world a better place that's something bigger than me. I can connect to things bigger than me.
Yeah.
No offense, doorknob is not bigger than me. Like,
Yeah.
I think
You
I hold more
control
value.
the doorknob. Yeah.
I think I hold more value than a doorknob. But like,
Yes.
one of the first times I connected to spirituality, because I wasn't really spiritual at all before some of these. I was jogging and I ran by a school full of kids. It was in Beverly Hills. We were living like a few blocks away, and I looked and it dawned on me, and I'm like, you know what? I don't have to look far for what is bigger than me. Like, this school full of kids is bigger than me.
Yes.
Now,
totally.
a school full of kids, like the doorknob could be your higher power is a platitude. It's like you're trying to fucking appease me by just making me feel like an idiot for asking the question. I'm not an idiot for asking the question. Like, if I don't understand the higher power concept, explain it to me. But like, a school full of kids is a higher power than I am. And the reason is the potential those kids hold,
Yes.
the life, the hundreds of lives and the families that they're attached to and everything that is connected to what happens in that school and what that school is going to create over the next decades and centuries. That is bigger than me, right? And I can understand that connection.
Yeah.
By the way, my children, my 3 kids now, higher power than I am, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's life force in there and there's purpose and dedication. I don't think we need to oversimplify or just dumb down every single concept,
Right.
rather than just connect people to truth. Like,
Yeah.
spirituality holds power, but my spirituality can look totally different than somebody else. And that's why I was asking about the God thing, because I think that clears up for people. So you were saying, for you, spirituality was about expansion of yourself and your life. What does that mean?
Yeah. Well, I guess kind of finding out who I really was. I feel like I was playing this role. I've been this DJ for 10 years and I live in LA and I'm from Vancouver, and I felt like I was almost like typecasted.
Sure.
Like that was my uniform, or that was how I identified
archetype.
myself.
You created a character.
Yeah, exactly. Even down to like my hair. Like my hair up until recently was black.
Yeah.
And I never thought I could change. I never thought, I felt like this is my bed. I need to lay in it. This is how I've planned everything out. I need to stick and I need to commit to it.
Yeah.
And it's like loyalty in like the worst possible form. And so
This is literally, I talk about archetypes and the stories we tell ourselves. The chapter is like, we get trapped in roles. The soccer mom, the DJ, the punk, the rebel kid, the goth,
Absolutely.
the CEO executive. I'm just doing what executives do. I've got to go out and get drunk with clients at night because that's how I close the $1 million deals. Like, we have a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was my story. And I honestly didn't think it was possible.
Yeah. Well, you don't see anything else.
No. And then I'm like, okay, if I don't live in LA, who am I? If I don't live in West Hollywood, like that's really fucked up to think.
Yeah.
Like, it's just West Hollywood. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
I cared. Like, I made all these like crazy big walls and bridges over like, no, it doesn't have to be that way.
So over the last 2 years, do you feel like you were able to break out of that character?
Oh my God. Yes. Like, entirely. Even like my friends are like, you look like a completely different person. Even like how I hold my face, and like my jaw used to be so tight and everything, just how my mannerisms were so very tight and rigid, and it was because I was scared.
Yeah.
You know, like I didn't know who I really was. So like, how can I relate to you?
Yeah.
How can I talk to you if I have no freaking idea who's in here?
Yeah. I love it. I love the parallels. I see so many parallels to the work that we do at Ignite. It's about discovering who you are and then being true to that person.
Yeah.
And that can be painful sometimes because you have to let go of things. You have to reconfigure the way you see the world. You have to change some of your beliefs, some of your core beliefs about how life operates.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Completely. And even like people around me, like, I'm not going to lie, like, I don't hang out with anyone I used to hang out with.
Yeah.
Because that's just not me. We don't have the same values. We don't have the same goals. I'm not there.
Yeah. I love it. I say often, I think did we write an article on that or we did a podcast episode? Essentially, like, to beat addiction, you have to become a person who's not addicted.
Yeah.
And you have to just change who you are, literally, as a human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Love it.
Yeah. So that's what I've done.
Love it.
And doing.
Well, so we literally only have a couple minutes left, but we literally haven't even talked about a sober girl's guide.
I know.
So, which I love. This is my favorite thing about interviews. We actually get into the depth of what's really happened and how you got here.
Yeah.
So it started a blog, you're doing video, you're really excited because you're expanding into all these things, writing a book.
Yes. Yeah.
What is the number one thing you're most excited about that people should pay attention to? Because we'll have links to all your stuff.
Okay.
But that people should know about you and where you're going this year.
Honestly, I'm really excited about the book.
Oh, yay.
I never thought that I could do it. And I never thought that I would have anything to talk about. But, you know, from my experience from coaching clients and stuff, I thought I was being very obvious and showing people like through my social and the blog and explaining how I got sober and the steps to do. Clearly, I was doing a really shitty job.
Oh, because people didn't get it, you're saying? Or
like, I guess people, not that they didn't get it. It wasn't just like hitting home for them. So like, and I mean, in terms of like my social media posts, blog posts, podcasts, I guess I need to communicate a little bit better. So I'm going to wrap it up in a book.
Can I tell you something? This is a good insight I got from somebody else that I follow and I use as one of my coaches. Mm-hmm. When you develop a worldview and you develop a way of approaching these things, you tell the same story over and over and over and the same methods over and over and over, but people just absorb things in different ways. So maybe if you combine like 400 different posts that you had, that creates almost the exact same things you're going to end up talking about in the book. But on Instagram, it's a picture in like 20 words or 40 words. In the book, you get to go more in depth into it.
Exactly.
When you're with coaching clients, you take the exact same principles you're going to put in the book, but you customize it and talk one-on-one. So it might be just a sentence or a paragraph at a time, but then you go really, really deeply into that sentence or paragraph in their life.
Yes.
If you ever do like speaking engagements and talk in front of a whole bunch of groups, you can't customize it quite in that same way, but you're just going to create a presentation off the exact same things that you have in your book to talk to people about because the principles are all the same.
Okay. Yes.
It's just some people absorb by sitting in a room with a bunch of other people listening to a speaker. Some people need one-on-one. Some people need a book.
Yes.
You just need to find the way that connects because the goal is to create the change in the people that you're working with.
Yeah.
The goal is not to write a book. The goal is for the book to create impact.
Just another medium.
Lives. Exactly.
Yeah. And I feel like I've kind of removed myself from a sober girl's guide. Like I kind of make it more, about a community, recovery, which is great. But also people keep asking me like, well, how did you do it? What's your personal experience? Yeah. And I guess I've been kind of struggling with not being too like spammy about it or like salesy about it, but it's not a sales pitch. It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah. I struggle with the same thing, but it's
like a fine line.
If you're really focused on the impact, you got to do that work.
Exactly.
Cool. So the book is going to be called How to
Save Your Own Damn Life.
How to Save Your Own Damn Life. We won't have a link to that because we're not quite there yet, but we'll have a link to your stuff.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your honest truth about how you got here.
Thanks.
Really excited to let this thing out and see what you do with this book and your community.
Thank you. Me too.
Thank you everybody for listening. Do me a favor, screenshot this, tag at
A Sober Girls Guide and my handle and Ignited, and let us know what's the big takeaway for you. What did you love the most about it? And then share with your friends who would need to hear this. Love you all so much. See you next week.
Yay!
Thank you for tuning in to the Ignited Heroes Recovery Podcast. I really hope you found the information here useful and that we'll see you back here next week. And look, I want to make sure that this podcast is the most useful it can be for you, so please let me know by emailing info@ignited.com if there are any specific topics or questions you'd like to have addressed. As usual, if you like this episode, I would love for you to leave us a 5-star review and rating. Thanks, and see you next week.